我只是想帮忙，我无意告诉你对还不对，请你告诉我你需要什么，你对也好，不对也好，我就帮你忙这样。就是说不要加上一个评断的一个语言，或者是，即使你心里面这样想，他都会感受得到，就是没有条件的爱。那么，切觉得这个才是能够帮助一个人从心情的创伤以后回来的最好的途径。Unconditional love.
Mm-hmm. So sometimes I feel when you're going to, when you like for example, when I go to bring my troubles, my problems to my teacher, basically what I have is I will go with that trust that my teacher will not going to judge me. So that trust is very kind of like important. So in the same way, sometimes when you're seeing the counseling, I think sometimes we are paying for them to not to judge the patient.
人们就说那个要让对方能够 trust 相信他，就是避免去 judge 他，避免去评断他的是非功过，让他可以接受你。然后讲到諮商，心理諮商，他刚刚讲说，其实很简单，就是我们给他钱，请他不要评断我的对错，请他听我讲话，然后不要告诉我哪里对哪里错，这样。
还有没有其他问题啊？
对，请用麦克风。
孙你帮他。
Hello. I have a few questions. Earlier, watching the video clips on this, I think Dr. Joe, the one that say I'm not my thoughts. Yeah, Dr. Joe. Yeah.
Joe Taylor.
Yeah. Somehow it reminded me of my own personal experience because I had a heart attack about 6 years ago. And then when they pushed me to the operating theater, and then during the operation, my heart stopped. And during that moment, I remember I was in a very massive space and very calm, very happy, and seeing bright white lights. At that moment, I did not know, I'm not conscious where I am. I know that I could not feel my body. I'm just spaced out. And then the doctor actually managed to get me back. And then I remember when I recollected back, I was asking myself, where am I now? And then later I saw the doctor and everything. Then I remember, I had a heart attack and they're operating on me. And then when I was pushed out after the operation, one of the nurses actually came back to me and said, do you know that your heart stopped? And then I reconnected. I thought, when my heart stopped, and that's where I see the white light. So now it gave me an impression that it seems that our body is our restriction. I'm not sure whether my perception is correct or not. Yeah.
This body is a
restriction.
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 Yeah.
And all this story happened in Taiwan?
No, I'm from Singapore.
From Singapore.
Yeah. This is one question. Yeah. Then another question is, I'm quite a lazy person, I must say. So when someone asks me the question, do you meditate? I think I got the impression that they probably means that do you set aside a time in a day that you sit on the cushion and focus on your breathing or do something like that. When I do it, I enjoyed it, I must admit. But after the whole process, I somehow will always say, I have wasted my 10 minutes or 20 minutes because I should have done something else. I got so many other things to do, So then I began to actually analyze and then maybe subtly cycle myself and say, meditation is all about mindfulness and being focused and living in the present. I should be doing it 24 hours a day, every day. So I said, okay, I shouldn't be setting aside a time. So I'm thinking, then what will you describe the ultimate goal of meditation? What is the carrot? You talk about the gas. How about the carrot? What are we trying to achieve? And then what will you advise for people like me to do this practice every day. Yeah. And then, yeah, that's basically two parts of the thing. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, can I answer about the medical part? Yes. NED, NDE, near-death experience. NDE, it happens. And I have 4 or 5 patients who told me the same story after I rescued them from the dying. So NDE, yes, near-death experience, that is an academic term in psychiatry. Dr. Raymond, Raymond, I can't remember the name. He wrote a book about life after life. You can read it.
Dr. Raymond Moody?
Yeah, Raymond Moody, yes. Yeah, you can read it. He described many patients with similar experience like yours. It's one thing. Second is that during CPR, we know your brain will have abnormal discharge. And I don't know whether that could account for your experience, but scientifically, we do have recordings from your brainwave, very weird. We cannot interpret, but we do have the data to show that your brain is in a very abnormal discharging way. The second thing is about putting aside your time and work to 20 minutes on a cushion. What I did was that is part of my work. So meditation is in my schedule. It's time. It's not out of my schedule, so I don't need to set aside another time. So,
Good. Perfect. So, near-death experience. Now, maybe from the philosophy point of view, Buddhist philosophy point of view, we will say like a dissolution process, and there's again, it might happening some kind of grossest level of a dissolution process, and you having this whole different perspective and experience to seeing. All different type of visions and seeing outer body experience. Basically, let me put this way: in a tantric philosophy, is a concept of an illusory body. And the illusory body is basically once you are able to dissolve the subtle wind into the central, indestructible, there's all this different terminology dissolved there, and then through that you have some kind of like a independence, mental body, or all that kind of different perspective is much basically in advanced level of. So now over here, when you look at into a very grossest level of a dissolution process happening, I think there is some kind of like a similarity, not actual, but a similarity of a kind of illusory body type of outer body. So that's my interpretation. I think is although in a tantric philosophy text doesn't really say that, maybe here's this whole eruption happening, and there's some kind of karmic. It is trying to kind of like a lifting up that to go through the karmic process into the dissolution process. So there is a kind of it's not really definitely going to happen. It's all kind of like uncertain chaos state of a dissolution process. So so therefore, I might happen this kind of. So this whole thing is a theory. Again, trying to explain your question through the the understanding that I have through the philosophy. I think, as Steve mentioned, I think that's a really good point. But I was kind of looking like yoga practice. Okay, I'm busy, I'm moving, why I should do certain moving in set aside of time. And it have a organized, concentrated, control environment to make it. That's the way we usually trying to make a progress. We have a control environment, have a structured, and then take that strength and have the flexibility to move in your own daily life. So again, having separate session, I think, is become something like that. Of course, yes, of course, we have to be a mindfulness in our own daily life, but circumstances really doesn't. It's have less. There's more obstacles for that. So, to able to overcome all those obstacles, once you have a control environment in your own cushion. Basically, I will say our own meditation cushion session is a really control environment that you're trying to strengthening. Okay, so I think at the beginning, yes, I think we should have that, because otherwise, I think we're not able to make that progress. Now, what we should have the objective purpose of a meditation. And I really liked your last slide. Buddha say, "Do what I gain." No, I didn't gain anything. I lost. And we are oriented to accumulate something, get something. This is how we are oriented. So meditation, purpose of our meditation, what we should set, I think that last slide is perfect, is to, I think, because our orientation, so we're trying to build up something, to gain something. I think that's absolutely our habits, and we are oriented in this way. But I think the last slide, I think, is perfect. No, I gain nothing. I lost everything. But all that things that I have before, I lost everything. So, yeah, that's, I think, do we have something set of goal, and to this how we are oriented in usually in our life. Okay, this is what I want to do and accomplish, and this is what. So basically, purpose of meditation from that perspective, and when in the computer, it is good. Undo. Undone or undo. That's basically purpose of meditation. I would say like undo, because karma has done so much, like there's so much things. So I think it's just to undo, not redo. Yeah, I think is yeah.
仁波切解释说，你那个这位新加坡来的那个不好意思
，Danny。
Danny 说他有一次在新加坡心跳停止之后，他就有很奇怪看到很亮的光啊什么哈。那这种经验，他后来知道从医生那里知道说他几点几分心跳停止，正好是他觉得这